Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We're doing a special edition of the Spotlight on the Community Show at Susan G. Komen's Impact Luncheon here in downtown San Diego. Our Spotlight on the Community Show is the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're in our 20th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. Just pleased to have our makeshift studio today is Krystia Rae. She's a breast cancer survivor and the founder of Lavande Vitality House. How you doing, Krystia?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
No, this is great. Can't wait to hear your story on this. And we have had other breast cancer survivors on this special podcast. How long have you been a survivor?
I have been cancer-free for about a year now.
Well, congratulations. And so when you first got the news, I've asked everybody else, that must have been a shock.
Absolutely. I had no idea that diagnosis was coming.
And then once you got it, what did you go into a plan of action? Did you work with your family? Did you work with your primary physician? What happens next? Because I'm sure everybody who gets that news wants to know what happens next.
Right. I think it's really unique to each individual. Mine was kind of sped up. So everything happened so quickly. So I didn't have a lot of time to really process what was going on, what was happening. They wanted to get in there and do surgery right away and just remove it. There was quite a bit that they had found, so surgery was necessary and needed. During those few weeks after diagnosis, I was really faced with my mortality. Until that moment, I was just moving through life thinking I had all this time left. Then you get a diagnosis like that and you just don't know. So it really gave me a moment to think about life and how I wanted to live for however long I was here. And so it helped me to shift my perspective and decide that it doesn't matter how long we're here, whether we're here for 5 days or 50 years, it matters how we live
100%.
The time that we're here. And so I am cancer-free now, thank goodness, as we said. Thank you. And I just live in this new way of knowing that our time here on this planet is so precious, and it matters how we spend it and who we spend it with and what we're doing.
Amen times 4 billion on this aspect of it. And if we lived that way, and heaven forbid we actually treated our friends well and our brothers and sisters, it'd be. But did you have any idea? Were there any symptoms you had that would say, was there a lump? Was there any feeling, or just came out of the blue? Just no way you knew.
In a sense, it came out of the blue, but I did find a lump.
Okay.
So I woke up one morning, I was taking a shower, and I found a lump.
Yeah.
And so that's what put me on to the doctors to go and just explore what's happening here. However, I do believe that sickness comes during times when something is out of balance in our life. And so I was going through some major life experiences that were suppressing who I actually was. And I feel that that played a role in me becoming susceptible and weak to the sickness.
Well, there's no question. We all know what mental anguish does, and from a chemical standpoint, it can exasperate a condition that you have, whether it's in breast cancer or something else in that area. What is Lavande?
Lavande is a wellness center here in La Jolla, California. I created it years ago on the concept of healing and repairing the fabric of love on the planet. So it's a place to come home to yourself, to remember who you are, your gifts, your talents, your passions, and your wisdom. But as I went through this journey and realized that life isn't just about healing, that it's about living well, living fully, and living together in community, it's changed a bit. And so now I teach people how to live for today, how to really find out what is in their heart, what matters to them, and to really live in alignment with that. Because like I said, we don't know how long we're going to be here. So let's do it well while we're here.
So the people that come to you, they can come to you whether they've got some medical issues, mental issues, or no issues in that aspect of it. And it's you've been doing this for how long now?
5.5 years.
Lavande Vitality House. How many people work with you, or is it just you?
No, I have healers and facilitators.
Okay.
We're expanding right now, so we're opening a Healing Foods Cafe, which will be open mid-May.
Healing Foods Cafe. And let me guess, is that healthy food?
Absolutely.
Okay, obviously I'd be a poster child for not being in that place, and I probably should be in that place on this. So when people come in, let's just say, our producer, Ian Solomon, goes, you know what, this sounds good. I want to get myself righted and all that. He sits there, looks you folks up, gets an appointment, and then what do you folks do?
Well, we have a range of appointments. So depending on what you need in your life at that moment. So we have workshops and ceremonies to come together in community, breath work, new moon ceremonies, full moon ceremonies, just opportunities to tune in, drop in, and get out of the busyness of life to really find out, like, what do I need today? But then we have private healing sessions as well. So the different healing sessions offer emotional healing, spiritual healing, physical healing, just depending on where you're at. And everything we do is deeply relaxing for the nervous system. So it helps you get out of that busyness of life, take a pause, take a deep breath, relax and calm your nervous system, and just get in alignment. But then we have the Healing Foods Cafe, we have an infrared salt stone sauna, we have, like I said, the different healing services, a naturopath, acupuncture, tarot readings, astrology, all the things to tune in.
Full gamut. What got you into this? I mean, were you interested in this when you were going to school, or you've always wanted to do something like this, or, man, I had an epiphany and I want to do this?
Personal growth has always been a passion of mine.
Interesting.
To really understand how I can show up better, how I can be better, how I can transform the different experiences that happened in my childhood that created traumas inside of me that were coloring how I showed up in life. And when I really started showing up for myself and going on retreats and workshops, I saw how healing and healthy it was for me, and that I could also provide a space where others could do the same. And now, because of the tools and the resources that I have, I'm able to get through things like cancer, like divorce, like all the different challenges that people go through, because I have the tools and the skills that I learned from coming to places like the one that I created.
Now, do you see people as individuals? Do you see couples? Do you see families? All of the above?
I would say all of the above.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you will see couples and all that aspect of it. We're chatting with Krystia Rae. She's a breast cancer survivor in Clear. Very good. Congratulations to you on that, and the founder of Lavande Vitality House out of La Jolla. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We're doing a special remote of our Spotlight show at the Susan G. Komen San Diego Impact Luncheon on this. So give me an example of how, because every day is a day you can learn to do certain things and hopefully better in that aspect of it. If I were to do a takeaway on what Lavande is all about, is don't cheat yourself. You're only on this planet for, we don't know how long we're on this planet over there. What have you done differently that, hey, I want to take advantage of some things I haven't done before? Have you done some? Is it travel? Is it doing other types of activities?
Absolutely. When I was first diagnosed, I decided I was going to start facing my fears. My biggest fear in life was speaking in front of people. So I got on a plane, I flew to Australia, and I was trained by the #1 speaker training organization in the world. And after that, I got on my first big stage and faced my fears. It was scary, but I did it. And since then, I've continued to face my fears and just show up in situations that maybe I would have shied away from in the past, because it is so rewarding and so fulfilling when you no longer allow fear to control your life.
Right. So we all know there's certain fears that are up there. And one of those is speaking in public, and we all know that, heights and flying and some other ones and all that business in this aspect of it. So obviously they did very well with you in Australia because you're very poised and all this. Would you say, if you hadn't done this in Australia, that you'd have a tough time on a podcast without having that training or learning or whatever the case may be? Because you're doing beautifully, by the way. No surprise, of course.
Thank you. I would say that they taught me how to organize my thoughts and my feelings in a way that created effective communication when you're in front of an audience. So I felt like they helped improve some skills and natural gifts that I already had. And because they gave me a structure and an understanding of how to put something together, it gave me more courage and more confidence to get up there.
Right. So here you are at the Impact Luncheon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you speaking at the luncheon?
Yes, I am.
And so what are you going to do? And when you addressed the men and women in this audience, hopefully there's a lot of men in this as well, especially when it comes to breast cancer and Lavande. What's going to be your takeaway point?
My takeaway point is life is meant to be lived fully, well, and together. And that's the message that I came here to share today, not just because of sickness or illness. Like, don't wait for the wake-up call. Start living now.
That's so true. I was very fortunate where I grew up, two great parents and a brother and all that business. And unfortunately, my father passed away many, many years ago in 1970. He wasn't cheated out of life. They did a whole bunch of stuff. My mom lived to 95 years young. But you're right. And some of this you just can't take for granted. You just don't know what's going to happen. Enjoy what you can, whether you got money or not. In this area, what do you see as probably the biggest hindrance to people really understanding that message? That they don't think they can do whatever it is?
I think some of it is just programming that we have from our childhood, from our educational system, from the media, of we need to do these things. These are the more important things, rather than listening to yourself. I feel like if everyone tuned into their heart and really understood how to listen to their own truth, then this whole world would be a different place.
Yeah, there's no quick. Well, part of it is listening, and that's something we stink at in this world. We're good at hearing, but we stink at listening. Something we talk about quite a bit in the Spotlight show as well. When people come to you at Lavande Vitality House, do most of them come with, they understand what they're going to get at your place, right? Do they think they're going to change their lives immediately? Is that what they're coming for, or they want to take a slow, travel to do this?
I think it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
I believe some people come in that hope. Some people are coming because they're desperate and they've tried everything else, and now they're opening up to spirituality. Some people come because they want to be a part of a heart-centered community. And some people come because they know what they're coming there for. That connection to self, the connection to the divine, and that moment of pause and relaxation and being one with yourself. So I think it's really each person's unique choice why they're coming in and what they're going to receive.
Right. So you knew that one of the things you wanted to do in alleviating a fear you had, and that fear was public speaking, and you went and only flew halfway around the world to do it. Bless your heart for doing that aspect of it. So the ones who come into your, Vitality House, Lavande Vitality, do they also want to say, listen, I know your story. You overcame this fear, and maybe others as well. Do they come in with that also? And they say, I have a fear of elevators, which is really a very real fear, to be honest with you, or heights or whatever, or any type of fear. And then you help them with that?
Yeah. I help you become your true self. Mm-hmm. So whatever that looks like for you, maybe it is overcoming a fear. And I can teach you how to be with yourself, to kind of look at what's creating that fear. What are the false ideas and beliefs that you have that are surrounding that fear that's actually holding you back? And I give you the courage to continue to take little steps forward. We don't just jump into it typically, but the little tiny baby steps to create the confidence so that you can move through those moments of fear.
Right. Is a lot of that what you do? Certainly there's the mental aspect of it, but is a lot of it also physical aspect as well, getting in shape or doing certain types of physical activities?
The physical body is a huge part, yes. We haven't focused a whole lot on that. We do have some yoga classes, but we're redoing our space right now, as I mentioned earlier, and we are adding in Pilates, yoga, and making sure we bring in the physical body, because our body is the vessel and temple for our soul. So it's important for us to be healthy in the body. And our bodies become sick when we're emotionally out of balance, physically out of balance, spiritually out of balance.
How do you get people, we talk about this quite a bit on our Spotlight on the Community show, especially when we're dealing with educators. We work very closely with the superintendents that are of the school districts, 43 of them in San Diego County. And of course, there's a lot of noise that comes 3,000 miles away from us and all that. And what their focus is, of course, are the 500,000 students that are here in San Diego County. How much do you have people say, listen, there are things you can control and there are things you can't control. Don't let those things that you can't control overwhelm your life. Do you talk about that at all?
Absolutely. I do believe there are a lot of circumstances that pop up in our life that we have absolutely no control over. But I also believe that we're co-creators of our life. So I teach people how to be a co-creator with the divine to create the life that they want, using their beliefs, their emotions, and your ability to envision your future to kind of help you create the path forward that you feel is moving you towards the destiny that you came here to live.
Yeah, that's great. We're chatting with Krystia Rae. She is a breast cancer survivor and the founder of Lavande Vitality House in La Jolla. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to a special edition of our Spotlight on the Community show here at Susan G. Komen San Diego's Impact Luncheon. Our Spotlight on the Community show is brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. So, Krystia, what can we do to support you personally or support the Lavande Vitality House? What can we do? Come visit you guys, I'm sure.
Yes. Come visit us. We are in the middle of our new rebrand and expansion, so we will be back open by the middle of May. And my mission is just to help people remember to come home to yourself, to come home to your heart and live in alignment with that truth, because I really believe that that's what's going to help change this planet and bring us all towards peace, love, and harmony.
That's great. What's your website?
www.loveandlavande.com.
Very, very good. Well, Krystia, pleasure chatting with you. Wishing you nothing but great success in Lavande, and we'll maybe have you back on the show somewhere down the road. How's that sound?
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for having me. It was truly an honor.
Absolutely my pleasure. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community show, nation's longest running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We are here in a special remote at the Impact Luncheon, brought to you by Susan G. Komen San Diego. And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.